It's been a long time coming. I never finished this series. In fact, I did Iron Sing before Frost, and I still haven't done Blood. So maybe expect another year-long wait till that drops unless people really bother me about making 10 stages of a Blood Rend user. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Starting out with Frostdraw is one of either two types of new players, and it entirely depends on which era of Deepwoken they started playing in. If you're a day 1 or early Deepwoken player who's been using Frostdraw since, then you likely started using it to stand out. With the game's initial attunement choices, Gale was the clear meta because it was just really good. Flame Charm was popular because it's fire, you know? It's like the default choice in every game that has elemental based stuff ever. And then I don't think anyone liked Thunder Call off release anyway because it just kinda sucked. And when Shadow was unlocked, it was just kind of the edgelord attunement that you would use if you want to be cool and edgy. So if you wanted to seem different, you would probably run Frostdraw since it was the farthest thing from metamancing you could get without any of the wide general appeal other attunements had, you know, except for Thunder. But for those of you who started way later, it's likely you saw an older meta PvP build on YouTube which used Frostdraw and just started playing it from there because you thought it looked fun. At stage 2, the Frostdraw player will begin to think they understand how their attunement works. They don't, but they think they do, and they probably start to realize at this point that talents are the best part of Frostdraw's entire kit. With a wide variety of talents and paths, the Frostdraw user will usually get kind of consumed by talents, which results in them sometimes rolling 2 on literally every mantra roll, and by the time they finish their build, they realize they have no mantras left and they have to restart. I've seen this happen with 4 different people while trying to show them or teach them Deepwoken. It is honestly insane how common it is for Frostdraw users to do this. After sadly wiping their garbage build to redo it, which, by the way, every time I tell a new player to wipe their trash build, they're always really sad and try and fight it. Like, I get why, I know it's your first build, but it's trash, you have 1 character slot, and you have 1 mantra on that slot, alright? So please, just do me a favor and don't argue and just wipe your build already. Anyway, after wiping their trash build, the idea that their talent and mantra choices matter, the Frost player will make a significantly better build, sometimes with the help of a guide, but regardless, their build is way better and they actually have some decent mantras this time around, instead of just Ice Beam with a few Stratus Stones put on it. At this stage, they also start to understand the different paths and stuff like crystallization, and usually at this or within the next few stages, they will decide actually how they want to play the game. But at this point, they're aware of the very routes like, I don't know, PvE builds and like Grand Sudaruska, and then there's the PvP builds with like all of the other stuff, and then there's like support builds with Ice Hero Blade. You don't want to be that, but some people go through there soon anyway. After making a decent, although not very great build, the Frostdraw player will start getting actually good at the game. At this point in time, the Frost player is almost absolutely using a meta build with meta mantras, and they're starting to pick up on pieces of tech like the walk around Icelands, which still isn't patched for some reason, but they're still learning at this stage, and by the time they figure out what everything does and how it all properly operates, it will lead them into stage 5. At stage 5, the Frostdraw player must decide whether they want to go some other route with Frostdraw. Do they want to be a main PvP player, probably running light weapons like rapiers, maybe even daggers? I've seen that a couple of times, although it's not very common. Maybe they like the Grand Sudaruska or crystallization path, or maybe they just like sapping healing with St. J, or maybe even support mantra spam builds with the Ice Hero Blade. If you use the Ice Hero Blade, you're gross, by the way. Anyway, stage 5 is where the Frostdraw player truly realizes what they want to be and how they want to play up until the next few stages. But at this point, they have basically completely chosen the build that they want to go, and they now know exactly where they want to be. At stage 6, the Frostdraw user will likely become bored of their attunement for a variety of reasons. Whether it be the fact that Ice has no mantra variety and there's only like 5 good ones. No, actually, devs, can we get some more Frostdraw mantras that are actually good? Because there's like 5 viable ones and the rest are just straight up garbage. Sometimes they're also just burnt out because using Frost is all they've ever known as far as Deepwoken goes. Regardless, the Frostdraw user at this point is burnt out and they usually stop playing as much Frostdraw, which leads into stage 7. At stage 7, the Frostdraw user likely stops using Frostdraw, slowly but surely. They usually start off with experimenting with either chilling or crystallization path, basically just the opposite of whatever they usually go, and then sometimes they'll try out different weapons or even just different types of builds. Maybe they'll even try a mage build at one point. But over time, this results in them trying out using different attunements just to see what they can have fun with. This usually does also cause a sudden spike in difficulty because Frostdraw is probably the easiest attunement to play as far as PvP goes, but they usually adapt pretty quickly until they start to get better opponents, at which point it will lead them into stage 8. In stage 8, the Frostdraw player will start experiencing anger from their lack of skill with other attunements. The soon-to-be, again, Frostdraw player is usually tired of all the losing. They're dying more in the overworld, their chime elo is probably lower than usual or it just keeps going down, and overall they really just can't get the hang of the new stuff that they're trying out, leading to a lot of anger and rage quits, and some people even take breaks or quit Deepwoken altogether because they just no longer find it fun. Their new attunement isn't good enough for them to win, or at least they're not good enough to win with it, and their old one is boring and they feel lost without any actual Deepwoken updates dropping that improve the base game without having to sit and chime for 7 hours a day. That's a problem with the game. That's a problem with the game, but you know, it's still something the community has to deal with. After coming back from a break of indefinite time, sometimes even months or even years, which is how long I actually took a break from this game, the player starts using Frost again. It's what they started with and they had fun for a long time after taking a break, and that fun is finally back after they've taken a break. They realize it's not the fault of their attunement, it's the fault of the devs for not adding any actual PvE or content updates. Regardless, the Frostdraw player is still having fun once more, even if there's not a whole lot to do. They really were just burnt out when they quit the game, and now that they've come back, they can find the enjoyment in Deepwoken again. At stage 10, the Frostdraw player now has a sense of undying loyalty for Frostdraw as an attunement. They use it exclusively and now refuse to go anything that isn't Frostdraw. They also probably run the exact same build and maybe even have copies of the exact same build on multiple slots. It's not even particularly hard since Frost can be used for PvE, PvP, or support builds, so lucky for them, even if they wanted to switch, it's probably better that they don't because it's the only attunement they can properly use and it works sufficiently enough for anything. By the way, back to what I said about them having multiple builds on the same slot. If you know who Arctic is, he's been playing since day one. He has quite literally, he's this stage, like exactly. He has like 8 different slots and they all have the exact same name, weapon, build, stats, everything. And he's been using these builds since like day one. And yeah, they've changed over time, but not by a whole lot. And every time it's just like the new 200-year-old build and they're all the same thing over and over again. It's honestly quite admirable how loyal Frostdraw users are to the attunement, because they are completely unwilling to change anything about their kit. They'll just learn how to counter you better, which, yeah, I mean, that's probably the best way to play the game. It's how you get good against countering things without having to rely on crutches. So yeah, honestly, they're usually pretty good until they reach stage 11. Stage 11 is the secret stage, which is Mastery. At stage 11, the Frostdraw player has reached total mastery in their chosen route of Frostdraw. They're either an excellent PvE player capable of whatever the fuck Chaser speedruns look like right now. Seriously, what is this? What are people doing in these? Or they're a masterful PvP player capable of snaking so many free hits through random bits of tech they learned that parrying looks like an option rather than what you should be doing, which is probably venting anyway because half of Frostdraw tech is just getting free hits. And if they're an Ice Hero Blade player, they can't reach this stage. Mage builds don't require or have the technical ability required for there to be any sort of mastery here. I guess you're good at running in circles, good for you, but the equivalent for mastery on a support Ice Hero Blade mage build is literally just being good at baiting people into running into you, so that way you can do the Ice Hero Blade crit for like 7% of their health per tick, which is really stupid. That crit does way too much damage. I hope you all enjoyed. Big shoutouts to YouTube members Brick, Goopka, Drizzy Drakefan, and Pickle. Follow my Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and join the Discord. And of course, watch the live channel videos and subscribe to the live channel. I don't play Deepwoken on there, so that's all me. I love you all. Have an amazing day, and goodbye.